All right. So our first topic we'll discuss is around integration of Dynamics CRM online with Office 365 around the Power BI components. And there's a lot of exciting things happening around Power BI. So depending on if you have some familiarity with Power BI, or either in the past or even some of the new things that are coming out, there's a lot of changes, a lot of nice features that have released over the last couple of months. So today's session, what we're going to do is we're going to touch on what kind of Power BI, what it is a little bit, and then I'm going to show kind of the old way to create reports and connect to CRM Online, and then I'm also going to show the new way, some of the new functionality. That way you'll have kind of an idea of both options that are available, and then you can kind of choose which one you like better, which ones you prefer from that standpoint. This session isn't meant to make you a Power BI expert. It's really kind of to get you started and kind of at least get you connected to your CRM data, give you some ideas of how to do that. And then from there, there's a lot of options you can do. Even just like with normal custom reporting solutions, there's a lot of things within the Power BI tool set that you can do with your data once you have a connection to it. So this is kind of meant just to kind of get you connected and kind of give you some basic overview of that standpoint and kind of get you started. So as we look at Power BI, Power BI is really an advanced business intelligence solution sitting on top of the Office 365 platform. There are some components that are outside of that platform, like that are in Excel, that you can utilize. But when we kind of talk about Power BI, we're kind of thinking of the Power BI website where you can kind of share the reports that you build, share that information to your users, and then they can kind of self-serve on those reports. The self-service can be done through the SharePoint website, but also through Excel too. If they have the connection to the data sources, they can self-serve right within Excel. Those reports you create then can get uploaded to what we refer to as Power BI for Office 365. That's kind of the old naming of the kind of the SharePoint way to share your reports. The new way is we kind of refer to as Power BI dashboards. So just kind of not to confuse them, one is kind of using SharePoint, that's the Power BI for Office 365, and then one is the new Power BI dashboard, kind of what is just released over the last couple of months. It was in preview for quite a while, and then it just released or went GA here at the end of July. And so we'll kind of look at both of those options there. With Power BI, like I mentioned, right within Excel, Excel has some add-ons that you can enable for Power Pivot, Power Query, Power View, and Power Map. And those do allow you to connect to the CRM data source and pull data in, massage the data, kind of transform the data to what you need, and then build visualizations and charts and reports off of that. And so that is kind of all done right in Excel. And then once you're done, you can then upload those into the SharePoint Power BI site to share with your users and so forth. Again, we'll show that in the demo. The one thing to kind of note here is with the Power Query, if you're using Excel 2013, kind of the out-of-the-box, kind of the RTM version, you haven't downloaded any additional updates for Power Query. There is one update for it that will actually add in the CRM Online data source. And so you can I'll have a link here in the upcoming slides for that, but if you download that update, that'll get you access to choose Dynamics CRM Online, put in the OData URL, and continue on with the connection there. Power BI has some advantages. It has a number of visualizations that you can use, from pie charts to maps to scatter charts and bubble charts and things like that. So it just gives you another way of visualizing your data. We saw in CRM over the last few days, there's some charting capabilities in there, right in line in the dashboards and in the grids, and you can do some pie charts and line charts and bar charts and so forth. But Power BI just kind of extends that even further with mapping capabilities and scatter. and also allow you to connect to other data sources. You can kind of mesh CRM data with maybe some ERP system data or another line of business application that you may be using, and you need to tie them together. Power BI is really key for those scenarios, where the CRM out-of-the-box charts and reports are more for the data that's held within CRM.
Got it.
All right. So this is just a quick screenshot, and like, so you'll see this in the demo here, but this is just the Power BI website that's hosted within SharePoint. And so you upload your reports here. Users would have access to this site, that they could come out to it, run the reports from here, or maybe mark a report as one of their favorites, which then makes a copy of that, or basically links that to their My Power BI site, where they have their own site where they can see kind of their favorite reports and kind of the things that they want to access quickly. But this is kind of the old, or the previous look and feel for how you would share your reports out to other users within the company. Now the Power BI site, the new option is going to give you, it's basically an option right within the drop-down as far as what you have access for, as far as CRM, SharePoint, Excel, Word. You'll see a little yellow icon for Power BI. That'll take you out to the Power BI dashboards, where you can again get access to reports that have been built for you, but gives you access to them basically right within the Power BI dashboard. You don't have to jump over to SharePoint or other things like that. You basically have your own Power BI site that will display that data. You can pull in other content packs or import data from other locations should you need to. So the other nice thing too is it gives you, the Power BI dashboards gives you a way to kind of edit the reports right on the fly there, right within the dashboards. You're not just limited to what someone has posted out there. You can kind of work with the charts and the data right from within the Power BI dashboard. Another nice thing that it gives you is like natural language querying, where you can start typing in, like, I want to see my opportunity actual revenue by status or by rating. You can start typing in some of those words, and as you're using words that match up with the names of the columns, the report will start building for you, and you can kind of get some visualizations just by typing in some words. And we'll show that here after a little while. Once you kind of get a report the way you want it, you can pin that to your dashboard. So as you're typing in different names or different words, you can go ahead and then pin that dashboard and make a huge list of dashboards or little KPI metrics all over your dashboard that have things you want to see with the data that you have access to. Another nice benefit of kind of the new Power BI tools is the mobile applications. So there's mobile apps for Windows, iOS, and Android devices. And these allow you to visualize and use the charts that are created up in Power BI. You can set your favorites, you can zoom in, zoom out of the visualizations. You can actually even take snapshots and annotate on them and send those to others, as well as configure some alerts on some of the KPIs as well. So you can access your CRM data through mobile devices, and now you have the Power BI app as well to access even more of the data that you need to report on. And then along with the updates or the new Power BI features comes some new visualizations and new options. So instead of the normal bar and pie chart and stuff, we now have funnels and combos and trees and gauges, fill maps, and a bunch of other options that just extend the capability to visualize your data in the system. And here's just a couple examples of some of the fill mappings or the gauges that you can put into your Power BI charts. So that was a little bit overview of Power BI. We'll get into a little bit more here, but we're kind of focusing on, at least initially, getting set up to create a report, getting connected to the CRM data, and then just I'll go through a few little tips and tricks within the Power BI editor, or the Power Query editor, I should say. So in the slide deck here, it does list kind of the steps on how you would start building a report. And now these are the steps if you wanted to use Excel, and so basically adding in the add-ins into Excel and building it through Excel. So I'll show you this way first, and then we'll jump in and look at the other way, kind of the newer way to do some of the reporting as well. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to, kind of high level here, you download that Power Query add-on, so kind of the updated add-on that has the CRM connection information in it. And then we're going to basically go into Excel, and we're going to make sure we have the Power Query, Power Pivot add-ons enabled. And then we'll go ahead and we'll enter in the CRM Online URL, or basically the URL to our OData. And then that pulls back a list of data sets that we can then start pulling into a report and start kind of mocking up what we want to visualize on our reports. So I do have the steps here, so you can refer back to the slides. So the download, the link to the download is in the notes section of the slide deck here. But basically, you'll download that add-on, and it just basically it updates the Power Query add-on that's already in Excel, and it'll get that to the version 2.42 or .242. That'll have the CRM components in it. Once you have that downloaded, we'll basically jump into Excel here, and we're going to go to the add-ins feature. In the add-ins area, we'll open up the COM add-ins, and we'll make sure we enable the options for Power View, Power Query, Power Map. Basically those are by default they're unchecked. Depending on if you've used them before, they may be checked in your environment, but just double check that they're enabled for you, and then you'll be able to start building the reports. This Silverlight usually is installed on most machines, but in order to do the reports, it will prompt you for Silverlight if you don't have it on your machine already. That pretty much is already installed, I think, for most newer machines, so or most newer installations, I should say. Once you have the connections or the add-ins installed, under the option for other sources, you will see an option for Dynamic CRM Online. Before, we used to use just the from OData feed, and that would work. But it wouldn't do any validations that you had the right, URL or format and stuff like that. So if you choose the Dynamic CRM Online, that basically gives you a little more hints as far as what it's looking for as far as the OData URL. And so in order to get the OData URL, we're going to go into CRM, into the settings customization area, and under developer resources, we'll find that OData URL. And again, I'll go through this one more time in the demo here. Just kind of want to show you quickly through the slides. Once we have that OData URL, we'll enter that into the prompt that we get when we select the CRM Online data source. And then we're going to make sure we check the organizational account, because that'll allow us to sign in as our Office 365 account. And then from there, we can then get connected, and that'll pull back a list of our data or entities. And they'll come back as with naming like opportunity set, account set, and so forth. So just similar to, like in CRM, we have the account base table. This just comes back as the account set, and that's all your account data that's in CRM. And then once you're in, or have the whatever set you want to pick, like opportunity set or opportunity and account sets, you can then pull them into the edit area, the edit query area, where you can then kind of trim down what fields you want available. What maybe you need to add some additional custom calculated fields or whatever it may be. You can kind of start playing around with the query, with the formatting, and that allows you to start building the report. Once you have the report built, then you can actually go ahead and save it and actually upload it into SharePoint. And so that's where that SharePoint Power BI area comes into play, is you can go ahead and just drag and drop your new report into that Power BI site. And then users that are accessing that site can see those new reports, utilize them, and use them from the Power BI Office 365 site. One other thing you can do with the report is we do have the capability of embedding those reports right into Dynamic CRM. So as long as it's on that SharePoint site, and you copy the URL, you should have a URL that has like an embed URL, or basically an embed object at the end of that URL. We can take that URL and come over to CRM and actually create a new dashboard, whether it be system or personal, or bring it in as a report. But basically, we can go ahead and make an iframe to that Power BI report and display it right in CRM. So that way, users don't have to go out to the Power BI sites, or if they don't want to, they can see that data right in CRM. Now, in order to do that, there is one kind of thing to kind of keep in mind or to note. In order for the Power BI reports to show up in CRM, we talked about enabling SharePoint integrations on day 2. One thing I didn't really open up or show is there's a SharePoint site. After you enter the SharePoint site, there is an option. And if you look kind of way down at the bottom here, it says, and it looks like that line, it should be down just a little bit further. It says allow embedding of Power BI reports. I think my screenshot must have got moved a little bit. But basically, if you choose yes to that, then we'll basically trust this site for allowing cross-site scripting and things like that so the Power BI reports can run. And so that would be the one thing to make sure is that the site that you have enabled for Power BI is added as a SharePoint site, and then you choose yes to allow that. Now, you don't have to be using the SharePoint integration for this to work. You just need to have a SharePoint record set up in here. And again, I'll jump into that in the demo and show that, which we'll jump over to now. So let me share my desktop here, get over to here. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is we're just going to start building Power BI report. We're going to start with Excel, so let me just go ahead and launch Excel here. I've already downloaded the Power Query add-on, so I'm not going to step through that. That's pretty self-explanatory there. I'm just going to do a blank workbook. And I've already enabled the add-ins, but let me just show that real quick. If we go to File Options, and then under the add-ins area, we have the option here for COM add-ins. And then this is where you would get to your Power Map, Power Query, Power View. So those are the items we'll be using. More so Power Query is what we'll be using mostly, but Power Map and Power View will do some other capabilities within Excel. One other point to call out, that I've run into this like 3 times now in my environment. Sometimes after enabling those COM add-ons, the Power View option doesn't show up for me. For some reason, it just stays hidden. So if that happens to you, one way to kind of work around that or to kind of get it to show up is if you go back into your file options and go to Customize Ribbon, and then under All Tabs, just go ahead and find the Power View and move it over. And you can see I have 2 Power Views here, so they should be showing up, but for some reason this one does not want to show up for me, but my custom one does when I move it over. So if I just move it over, it shows up, it'll basically push it over there. So go ahead and do that, and then that will make it show up, just in case. I spent hours trying to figure out what was going on, and then just that little simple move it over forces it over there. So just a heads up there in case you run into the same thing. All right, so with the Power Query tab enabled, I now have options to grab data from many different types of data sources, from web, from a database. I could, if I have an on-premise ERP system, I could grab some data from there, doing a SQL Server query. But what we're going to show here is basically grabbing data from CRM Online. So I can just come down here from other sources and choose CRM Online. What that'll do is it'll bring up a dialog box here that basically wants the URL to our organization, basically our organization data service. It's basically our OData URL. Well, if you know your tenant name, you can go ahead and easily just type that in there. But if you don't, what you can do is you can jump over to CRM real quick. Under Settings, go ahead and drop that down and go to Customizations. Then under Customizations, we have the option for Developer Resources. Here's where you'll find the OData service, or basically the URL. So you can go ahead and you can't copy it right from that window. If you click on it, you can just copy it out of the URL or the address box up here. And now let me jump back over to Excel, and I'll just paste that in. And then I'll go ahead and hit OK. Now I'll go ahead and try to connect. If it can't connect, obviously you'll get an error at that point. But you do get this option once it does connect for how you want to connect. A lot of times when I see people will see that, oh, it's connected, they'll pick the URL here, and then they'll try to connect, and then it'll fail. That's because right now it's choosing anonymous. Well, we can't log in as anonymous. We actually need to specify our credentials. And our credentials are an organizational account. That's basically our Office 365 login. So if I choose organizational account and click on sign in, just go ahead and it'll prompt me for my login. I'll just sign in with my O365 credentials that has access to CRM. And then now I can go ahead and just hit connect. And this will go ahead and connect to CRM, and it's going to start pulling back the list of entity sets that it finds. So sometimes this could take 30 seconds or so, depending on your connection. It'll start pulling in some of the data here. And then once that pulls in, then we can go ahead and choose what entity set we want to work on. And we'll just kind of go through the opportunity one for a quick sample. That load up here. That's going to retrieve the entity sets, and that'll give us a list once it displays here of all the entities, so accounts, cases, whatever it is you want to build a report on. Once it has that connection, I'll go ahead and choose opportunity. All right, so there's all the different data sets that we can choose from. So if I just going to scroll down here, I'm going to grab my opportunity sets. There are some other ones that come in, like there's an opportunity close set. There's different things you can pull in. Obviously, the opportunity set will have all the opportunity fields that I need. So you can select on it. It gives you a little preview of all the different fields that is available in that set. And right now, since this is the entire opportunity set, it has quite a few fields in there. So you could click on load, but more than likely you're probably going to want to edit the query first to limit how many fields are there, what other additional fields you may need. So if you just click on edit, that'll jump you right into the query editor. And when we get into the query editor here, this is where, like I said, I'm not going to make you an expert in Power BI today on this, and there's so many things I haven't even kind of gone through, but there's many different types of transformations and adding columns and different things you can do to massage your data. But a couple things that I do right offhand is, like I said, there's a lot of fields that are in this opportunity query. And well, obviously we're not going to need all of them, so let's go ahead and get rid of some and just choose the ones that we need. So if you click on choose columns, this will give you a list of all the columns that are here, and you can go ahead and unselect them all. And then you can just start searching for the ones that you want. So maybe we're just going to, let's grab in our actual close date, our actual value. And then as you search, it does remember your checkboxes, so you can start searching for some other things, like say my estimated close date, my estimated value. Maybe I want to bring in our probability, and maybe some customer information. So if we look at our customer, so here I have customer ID, and I also have down here, it says opportunity customer accounts and opportunity customer contacts. Well, what if, for those that are a little more familiar with CRM, or once you get more into CRM, you'll know that there's a bunch of relationships within the CRM database. So on the opportunity record, you can specify a customer that's tied to this opportunity. Well, there's a relationship there from opportunity to the customer that pulls from the account entity. So if I select this option here, then what this will give me then is all the fields from the account entity. So I could pull in, maybe I want to pull in the customer, I want to pull in their address information or email address from that entity. I could do that. Same with this one, I could pull in fields from the contact if I wanted to. And if I just wanted just the customer name, I could just choose just customer ID and that will give me just the customer name info on it. I'm going to do all three just to kind of show you the difference once I get in here. So that's going to refresh my query, and it's going to reduce the number of columns that I have by quite a bit. And now the other thing that you get questions on quite a bit is, so the data comes in here, but you see some of these columns just say record, but they don't actually show the data. That's because in CRM, we have different field types show different values. Like a pick list field has a name, but also has a value. And number fields have values, but they also have another. Basically there's like GUIDs and there's names. So there's different ways that it can display the data. So basically what we need to do is we need to click on these fields and expand it to show the value. And when we do that, it's going to show the value. But you'll notice as I'm doing this, there's these applied steps that happen on the right-hand side. So it's going to remember that I'm doing these steps. So as it pulls in new data in the future, I don't have to do this again. This is just going to do it for me and basically run through the steps of any data that it grabs. As I scroll over a little bit more here, here's those customer fields that we were just talking about. So if I click on the expand on this one, notice I could grab the ID of the customer, which is the 32-digit GUID, or I could just grab the name. And really, I just want the name for this one. So let's go ahead and just grab the name. Now the difference will be, so this one's just going to show me the name. If I go ahead and expand this one, I'm not only going to get the name, but I'm going to get all the account fields. So this is where I could pull in email address or address information or whatever it may be. So if I can just do name, I'll just pull in the name, and then I'm not sure if I have email addresses on most of these. We'll see here, email address. So that'll then pull in both of those fields for me. So I'll have the customer name plus the email address if I have one in the system there. So let that expand here. So there's the email address, and then the customer name. I must uncheck the customer name there. Sorry. And then on the contact one too. Let me just do this real quick. Actually, one thing nice about this. So basically, I think the email address was the only one that got selected for me. What I could do now is, if I wanted to undo that step, I could just delete the applied step over here, and now it's going to go back, and now I can kind of redo what I just did there. And so I can grab the name. Let's do that name for now so we can see that pull over. And then I'll do the same thing with the contacts over here. And I'll just grab, let's see, uncheck these, and let's just grab full name. So what this is going to give me now is, on my opportunity report, I can pull in what account is tied to the opportunity, but also if there is, make sure you only use one property. All right, let's go ahead and undo that one. I'm not sure what happened there. Let me try that one more time, because that was working for me before. Let's do first name for now. Just see if that changes at all. Okay, so let me not do that one for now. I'm not sure what's going on with that one. It was working yesterday, but anyway, what this will allow me to do then is I can pull in, if there is an account tied to my opportunity, I can pull that in. If there isn't one, it'll be null, and maybe this is more tied to just the contact for me. So basically, one thing nice about the customer ID name is it displays either the account or the contact. But here you can then display the account only, or you can come over here and display the contact only. So you could have a few different options there, or you can display them both if you need to, if there is more than one. Anyway, so that's kind of a little bit about kind of expanding the data so that you can kind of see it and then start looking at, or start basically finishing up the query. A couple other things that I like to do, especially for the queries or the reports where you want to be able to filter on a date. Right now you see the actual close date has basically the date and the time all together. So if I were to basically start doing a report on this, I wouldn't really be able to filter by January or by, or basically 2014 or something like that, because all this data is kind of munged together. But what I can do is I can actually select this column, and I can go up to this add column area up here, and I can go over to the date format option, and I can actually create a new field. If you notice, since I'm on the add column area, this is going to add a new column for me. And it's basically, I can say, take the year from the field that I have highlighted and create a column that will be just the year for that. So here now I see I have a year column, so that's all set all by itself. And if I go back over here, let's do this one more time and do a month column. So it depends on the data you're pulling or where you're pulling it from. Depending on how it's pulled back, you may or may not have to do some of this depending on what you need to filter on. But now this pulls back, and right now it's got the number. I could do a kind of a transform and maybe write a little query that says if 1 equal January, if 12 equal December, or something like that. Or I could change some of that information, and that would be applied in the steps here as well. The other thing you can do, instead of the add column, if I go to the transform tab, I know that this column is a money field. So right now it's a decimal number. Maybe I want that as a currency. I can go ahead and change that to currency, or I can basically change the data type of that field based on what I want there. So then change that. Let that finish here. And then the other thing you can do, if I go to the View tab and click on this Advanced Editor, you'll see it has basically the query set of everything we just did and the steps we just applied is all here. So you could copy that out and save it like in your OneNote, or just save it somewhere, because if you're doing a lot of Power BI reports, but you're using some of the similar data sets, you may want to start with this, where you could, instead of doing all the little steps I just did, you could copy this. Next time you open up a brand new report and you pull in the opportunity data set, you just come over to the Advanced Editor, paste your copied section in here, and now you're already at this spot. So that could save you some time there as well. Once I'm done with the massaging of the data and everything else I want to do here, what I can do then is up at the Home tab, I can click Close, Close and Load, or Close and Load To. Close and Load will just load it right into Excel for you. Close and Load To gives you the option to basically, instead of creating it as a table right in Excel, I can just create just the connection only. That way when we refresh the report, it's not just a table, a static table in Excel. It actually has a live connection back to the data. And then, so let's go ahead and hit load here. So now I have my my connection here. If I jump over to Power View, now I can start creating, if I click on Power View, I can start creating a report based off the fields that we have in our opportunity data sets. Select this, open up here, and you can have multiple data sets and have them relate to each other too. If you have like I said, an ERP data set or something that you were pulling in, you could edit the relationship there. So now I have this, and I have my list of fields here. And let me just go ahead and close this. Fields are supposed to be expanded here. Let me reference. Do I know why am I missing my field? Let me just load this to the Excel. I'm not sure why my columns are missing this time. So that's in Excel there. Okay, so I guess I was looking at the wrong. Here's my field. I was looking at the wrong spot. That was my bad. Let me close that window, not confuse myself. So if I expand the opportunity set, here's the field that we just limited it down to. And so now I can actually come in here, and let's just say we want to grab the estimated close date, or actually not estimated value. That's what I want. So we have the estimated value, and now let's go ahead. Maybe we want to do that by, let's see, if we can do that by year, and then we can, if we want to do different tables, make this a little bit bigger so it's easier to see here. Let me just try it one more time. Let's try this again. So let me pull in the actual value. So that pulls in there, and then we want to go, maybe we want to have a month filter. So you can drag in some filters. Let's grab the month, let's grab our year filter. And so you could have like checkbox filters, or you could change these up and do different like sliders, or depending on what you want for your end user to use, whether checkboxes or sliders. Let me grab pull this in here so we get customer. Let's do customer name. And my charts. For some reason my charts aren't showing up. Bar chart. Alright, for some reason this looks a little different than it did before because my bar charts aren't. Anyways, let me just pull in a couple more things. Let's do estimated revenue on a new chart. So I can pull in different charts depending on what you need here. One thing that's nice though is as I select, let me click this here. As you start building up the reports here, they will tie to each other. So as I filter, maybe on say December, that'll filter any of the dashboards or any of the metrics you have on the chart, as well as you click on things within the chart, which doesn't seem to be working for me right now. It does actually filter the chart as well. For some reason, I'm not seeing my charts here, but anyway, let's just go ahead and we'll just keep this one simple here. Let's just do opportunity demo. Nothing too fancy with this report, but I'm just going to go ahead and save this, and I'll show you another example I had a little bit earlier. Let's just save this to my desktop. See that there. And now I'm going to go ahead and jump back over to Office 365. I'm going to go into my Power BI area. And like I mentioned, they have updated Power BI. So right now I'm just going to click on this one, which will actually bring me to the new site. But from here, there's a link back to the old site. And we'll talk about the new site here in just a minute. So from the new site, I can actually come out here and jump into Power BI for Office 365. And that'll load up the original SharePoint Power BI site that you can upload reports to, and then grab the link for CRM if you want to display it in CRM. So this will load up the My Power BI site, and here I can see all the reports I've marked as favorites. But if as an admin, what I would probably do is I'd go to the main Power BI site. So I have a CRM Power BI site. So as an admin, I would come into here. I would take that file that we just saved up here. Let me get to my desktop. And then I can go ahead and drag that report over once my slow site starts waking up here. Not sure why this one's taking. Well, if that doesn't come up, I might just add it to. One more time. I'll just go to my Power BI site then. I won't go to the main one. Looks like that one's taking. So from here, I'll just go ahead and upload. I should be able to upload my own reports from here, possibly. Favorites. Okay, sorry about that. I'm not sure why this one's taking so long to load. It was just in here. Trouble with live demos. You never know when something's not going to work. Okay, one more time. If this doesn't work, we'll let it load here while I jump onto the next thing here. My CRM site. Okay, there we go. I'm not sure why this one's still spinning, but anyway, we'll leave that. So as an admin, I would come into my main Power BI site that we set up in Office 365, and you can have multiple sites, but here I can see I can add different. I have some folders. I have an account folder, and then I'm actually using the same site as I have my SharePoint integration enabled to. So you can see all my account folders that have documents. But I can come in here and I can add, I can upload a file, and I can go ahead and choose that one we just created, which wasn't a very fancy report at all. But let's go ahead and just select it just for the sake of showing how to upload it. And that'll upload, but as that's uploading, here you'll see a bunch of some of the other reports that I've done. If I go ahead and go into those, as a end user, I could go ahead and click onto them. I could use these reports right here on the site and do analysis of the data, filter and things like that once my report loads up here. Here, as this comes in here, now you can see I have a map up here with a list of states, and basically what this report is doing, it's actually taking CRM data and actually mapping it to some of the GDP data from the web. And so basically it's saying, as I can kind of see, as I look at different years, I can click, let me just do all here. I can see our sales numbers compared to maybe the GDP average. And so if I see, like in California, I'm pretty low on sales here, but I have a big, large GDP chunk here that I probably should be selling more there, or there's probably more opportunity there. And so you can kind of use that as one of the options for combining data, using data from the web versus and actually combining it with CRM data. But as I click on some of the, let's say the bubble here, that'll filter then anything that's below it. I can click on Washington and so forth. So it just kind of gives the user a way to kind of filter and kind of play around with the data, visualize it, and kind of get insight from that data. But what I can do then is once I have a report out here, I can actually go ahead and copy the URL. And you'll notice it has this little embed view option at the end of it. So I need to make sure that the URL I use has that embed view, otherwise it won't work in CRM. If I copy that, I'm going to jump back over to CRM. I'm just going to go to my dashboards. Let's go ahead and create a new dashboard here. And I'll just grab one of these templates here. Do demo Power BI. And I'm going to remove a couple of these options here and just make this a little bit wider so we have just one increase width and then increase width. So now when I have this dashboard here, I have that option for an iframe. When I click on iframe, this is what allows me to put in the URL And then I can just go ahead and hit OK. And then with that selected, I can go ahead and hit Save and Close. And I'm just doing a personal dashboard right now. You could do a system dashboard so everyone is able to see it. But I'm just going to just refresh here so it gets in my list of dashboards that get refreshed. And so now I come down here. I have the demo Power BI. I can click on that. And that should then load up that Power BI report right in CRM. And it will allow me, and I could have made this a little bit longer too so I could have a little bit bigger view of the data. But that'll load it up, and then I can do the same options as I was just kind of showing you in the SharePoint UI. As I can click on different states and see that it may refresh and filter and so forth. So this will go ahead and load up the Power BI reports. And so yeah, so I would have made it a little bit longer so I wouldn't have such a small view, but you could then start working with the data without having to leave CRM. You have access to Power BI there. The one thing I mentioned to make this work is in the settings area under under settings and then under document management. We have a list of all the SharePoint sites that have been configured. So initially when we set this up on day 2, we gave it basically one site that we were going to use for our automatic folder creation. What that does is that actually creates a record in here and has basically for this SharePoint site. So if I go into this record, I do have the option down here now to allow embedding of Power BI reports. So I could click yes. And now this site will be basically trusted to allow Power BI reports to be displayed from. Now, if you weren't using SharePoint integration or you want to use a different site, all you need to do is just click on New and then enter in your site information, as well as then mark the checkbox to allow embedding of Power BI reports. So you're not limited to the site that's doing the integration. You could have a separate site as well, or if you have multiple sites, you could add those in there. All right, so that's a little bit about the older way to do the Power BI reports. I mean, it's still valid today. It's still a way to connect to the CRM database. But I'll show you next here. Let me just jump back to my content for a second. The Power BI dashboard, like I mentioned, was released a couple months ago here. This is going to allow you to, again, connect to the same CRM data sources that we just saw connecting to, but it'll give you some additional functionality, like I mentioned, it's kind of that natural query language, but also gives you the ability to download content packs or create your own content packs for your organization and kind of push out reports that way to your end users. So again, we grab the same OData URL when we connect, and then we just go ahead and, if we're doing a content pack, it's just going to ask us for the URL, and then we just choose the OAuth authentication, and that'll get us connected to our data source. And so the one thing different you'll see here is you can have many different KPIs or smaller charts with some data on that you can then start pinning to your dashboard. So it's a little bit different look and feel, but again, accessing the same type of data on the back end. So let's go ahead and jump back into the demo for that one. Let me go ahead and close this one, and we'll basically go ahead and start here. So when I first come into my Power BI dashboard, I may not have any dashboards or reports depending on they may load up a sample one for you just so you have something to kind of look at and kind of play with. But in order to kind of get connected to your CRM data, all you need to do is click on Get Data. And when you click on Get Data, there's an option for content packs. Basically, anyone in your company that they've created a content pack will be available here. But then you have the services, and these services are from different third parties. There's MailChimp, Marketo, Dynamics CRM, Dynamics Marketing. So there's some content, like pre-built content packs that you can utilize. And so if I click on Dynamics CRM here, click on Connect, it's going to ask me again for that OData URL. And oops, I need to grab that quick here. So copy that same URL we used before when we were doing the Excel way. And I can go ahead and hit next here. Oops, take off that last slash there. Hit next here. It's going to go ahead and try to connect. And then it's going to ask us kind of a similar thing. How do you want to connect? Well, we don't want to connect with anonymous. We actually want to use the OAuth authentication. Click sign in. That's going to give us that same prompt for our Office 365 login. So go ahead and sign in here. That'll go ahead and get me connected. And since this is a content pack, it already has predefined the queries, the reports, basically everything that it was available in that content pack. So here you see there's a few things that have a little yellow star by it. Those are things that are getting loaded up right now. Basically, and you see I have two now because I've added this twice. But I could go ahead and rename them if I wanted to keep them separate. But basically, this content pack is installing one data set here called Dynamics CRM Sales. It's installing a report for us called Dynamics CRM Sales. And this report has some different charts and ways of looking at the data, from sales performance to sales pipeline to, I think there's like activity counts and stuff down here further. So basically it's a kind of predefined set that you can start using right away and connect to your CRM data. This is actually my CRM data it's pulling from. It's just a predefined data set connection to our data. And then also it gives me is a sales manager dashboard. And this is where I have a bunch of KPIs that I can start looking at, basically looking at my data. And of course my screen's a little bit smaller here, so I kind of have to scroll for you guys to see everything. But you can kind of see different KPIs and things like that. Well, these aren't like hard-coded. I mean, you can, if you don't want to say something is not relevant to you, you can go ahead and you can actually remove it off there. And then, let's go ahead and close this here. You can make changes there. Or the other thing I mentioned with the query language, I can start typing in here. So I want to see opportunity actual, oops, I can type right here, actual close. And so if I'm looking at the actual value, so I can see opportunity actual value, that quickly comes back and shows that I have 725,000 of actual value sold for my closed opportunities. But then maybe I want to do by account name, oops, account. And so now I quickly see all my closed opportunities by account. And you know, as I'm doing this, if I get to a point where like, hey, actually I would like to see this chart more on my dashboard, I can just click the little pin icon, and this is going to pin it to, and I can actually pick which dashboard I want. So let's just go ahead and say let's pin it to the one we're on right now. And then let's go ahead and we can do some more typing in here. Maybe I want to pin this actual value one here, so I'll pin that one. So I'll pin that. Now let me just go back to my sales dashboard. Just close these. These are popping up from my other ones. But let's go ahead and scroll down here. And here we have the actual value. Looks like I guess I already did this before. So here's the actual value one we just pinned on there. Here's the actual value, just the number we just pinned on. I can drag these around and reorder them. So it gives you a nice dashboard feel that an end user can start using based on the data that you give them access to start playing with. Now, as an end user, yeah, I can do some changes here, maybe create some reports. But even as an admin, I can come into my data set here, and I can start building a report just like we were doing in Excel. I can pull in my opportunity, or I can drop down my opportunity set. Let's grab the actual revenue here, and then let me grab my account name. So I can say revenue by account name. So I can start pulling in some data, building my own charts. I can then go ahead and hit save, and I can save. Oh, sorry, save this demo report. Click on save. Now I have this demo report showing up for me in my list here. So there's a demo report under the reports. And if I wanted to, if I really like this, I could have more than just this on here. I could have more items, but I could also pin this to one of the dashboards again. So I could say, I guess on the Sales Manager dashboard, we're going to pin this because I really like this little graphic here. So now it's going to be available for me. I scroll back down here, over to the right. I should have my, oh yeah, right here. Here's the one we just pinned. So it gives you some nice kind of ad hoc capabilities to quickly create some reports and get those set up. Now again, as an admin, if you're creating some of these reports and you get to the point where you want to share these reports and other dashboards with your end users, that's where you can create your own content packs. And so I can actually come in here and click on this little settings icon and choose Create Content Pack. And here I can say make it available for my entire organization. We'll do this is our BI demo pack. And as I come down here, I can give it an image if I want. But what I can do then is I can actually pick which data sets I want, or if I come and pick, hey, I really want to give them access to this dashboard. Well, this dashboard comes with these reports and then this data set, so it auto selects it for you so you're not missing something. And so you can kind of package in, whatever you want to do or whatever you want to have in the content pack. I can go ahead and publish it. And now when I publish it, as an end user going into clicking on getting more data, if I click on get data from my organization, here's that BI demo. And if I click on that, that's going to load that up into my Power BI site. I'm not going to do that now because I'll have another same names of more things in my organization. But so I can just go ahead and connect there and add that into my workspace. So that's another way you can do it. You may be, and I didn't think about this at first as I was in here, but so we're using these content packs that are kind of predefined for us. And you'll see the CRM, if I look back at the CRM one here, let me just go ahead and go into the CRM one. If I click on this, notice it says that this insights for opportunities accounts are basically they're more for the sales side. So really it's around your opportunities, your leads, your accounts. Well, what if I want to do something around service or campaigns or something like that? There isn't really a predefined pack for that. Well, that's where you can actually build your own reports with the new Power BI desktop tool. Now you'll see the Power BI desktop tool is almost identical to the Excel tools we just looked at, but you don't need Excel to do it. And so again, from the Power BI window here, I can choose Power BI desktop. This will take me to the download location where actually starts the download for the Power BI desktop tool. I'm going to click cancel because I already have it installed here for already. Power BI. So here's my Power BI desktop tool. And so if I click on this, you're going to see this is going to be very similar to what we just did. So it is, yes, it is another tool, but it is nothing really different from what we've already been talking about. But what this will allow you to do then is publish the reports right up into this Power BI dashboards. And then from there, you can then start building content packs off your new data sets that you build. So here I come in, I have, let me just go ahead and close the prompt here. So at first it kind of looks a little bit like the designer we were just in. If I go ahead and click on Get Data, I can choose More. And under More, I guess I can scroll down, but if I choose Other here, I have access to Dynamics CRM Online. And again, this is going to allow us to connect. So same prompt, same thing as we saw over on the Excel side. And go ahead and connect here. And then again, it'll ask me to how I want to connect. And so I'll choose organization. actually, I may have already, since I was already logged in, it already took my cache credentials. So, but always I would choose organization and log in with my credentials. And then this will pull back the data set. And we'll just do a quick one here, just a quick add this here, and then we'll show publishing it back up to the Power BI dashboards. So once this loads up, I'll go ahead and grab my opportunity data again. All right, there we go. So let's go down and grab opportunity set, and then we'll click on edit. So again, just like we were editing it in Excel, it has the same capabilities here. I'm just going to do a quick. I'll choose columns quick and just grab 2 columns, and we'll go ahead and upload this to the dashboard. Since it is the same concept, there isn't really anything new to touch on here other than the uploading it. So let's go ahead and choose columns, and then we'll just choose some actual revenue here. Actual value and actual close. I'll grab those 2. Okay. And then I'll just expand out the actual value here just so I have the value. And then let's go ahead and close and apply this. Once that's done, we'll say we modified the report. We kind of got it the way we want it. Let's go ahead and hit close and apply. That'll close the query editor and apply the changes we just did. And so now it'll load up the opportunity set for me, and then I can start building a report. And like I said, we already had the opportunity set in Power BI in that content pack, but I could have grabbed cases or quotes or something else like that if I wanted to. So once this loads up, then I'll be able to grab the fields I want to pull over. Let's give this a second. Usually this part takes a little bit of time just for it to grab the data and then modify it with our changes, and then it pulls it into here. There's loading it up. And then now that is should be down here in just a second. All right, so now I can go ahead and expand my opportunity set over here. I can go ahead and click on what fields I want to add into the report. If I want bar charts or whatever kind of graphics I want, any filters and so forth. So similar things that we just kind of talked about on the Excel side. But basically, once you're done, you can just go ahead and hit publish. And then I'll go ahead and say, actually, I guess I need to save my report first. Let's do BI demo report. So it saves it, and then now it's going to publish it up to Power BI. And if it needs your credentials, it'll ask for it. But since we were already kind of logged in, it already had the credentials. So I can basically just go ahead and click on this to open it up right in the Power BI dashboards. And now I have here's my BI demo report we just uploaded. So again, very basic, not the fancy report, but I just kind of want to show you more of the concept of getting the data into Power BI, uploading the report, and kind of at least getting you started. So, and then now that that's up there, if I hit the wrong button there. Let me go back to my workplace. If I hit build or create content pack, and I go ahead and scroll down here, that BI demo report we just did is now available, and it keeps that data. It pulls back that data set with me. I can make a dashboard with this data as well. So that would be one way you can get additional data sets into, or basically additional content packs with different data into Power BI. All right, so let me go back to my content here, or my slide deck. Any questions on the Power BI, feel free to use the Q&A pane there, and any questions or anything that didn't quite understand there. I know there's a lot of information there. There's mainly, I think, as we look at it, I think the way we're kind of going with the new Power BI dashboards may eventually replace the other Power BI option, but today we have both options to use. So depending on what you like better.
Please pardon the interruption. Your conference contains less than 3 participants at this time. If you would like to continue, press star 1 now, or the conference will be terminated.
All right. So any questions, go ahead and put them in the Q&A. I'll go ahead and bring up my slide deck for the second half of our day here. All right, I don't see any questions yet, so I'll just kind of continue on here and we'll get through the overview of social engagement. So it's kind of the agenda for social engagement. We'll just kind of look at what are some of the opportunities with this solution. What are companies looking for? What are the key capabilities that the social engagement tool provides? And then we'll jump into a demo and then talk a little bit about licensing. So a little bit on customer opportunities. With today's world being more and more social, people sharing information, their likes and dislikes online more, and people that are basically their followers, respect their opinions, and their opinions may even determine what they purchase. It's right now is a time where you really need to be paying more attention to social data, and if there are issues out there, how are you going to address them and taking action on them? And so, as we look at how much content is being shared online, I mean, really, there's the main one here is looking at the number of tweets per second. 5,700 tweets per second, 100 hours of video uploaded to YouTube per minute. If you're a company, a large company, and you're getting a lot of social media posts about you, it's just so much to keep up with that you basically almost get lost, or you don't really have a good plan to address it. And so that's kind of where we did there was some research done to see, are companies ready for social, or how are they handling their social strategies? And they kind of found that out of the Fortune 500 companies, 83% of them do have Twitter accounts. 80% have Facebook accounts. So they claim they're social, but are they really utilizing them? And kind of the metric that really stood out was, of all of those, only 17% really thought that their social strategy was actually mature, and they're actually taking advantage of the responses and being able to respond back to customers or take their feedback. So this is kind of where the social engagement tool comes into play. We have customers that what's kind of on top of their mind. They want to listen to what people are saying, they want to analyze, and then they want to maybe drive that engagement with an unhappy customer, or maybe they have some followers that are really evangelizing the company or the product. Maybe they want to engage with them a little bit more, or keep an eye on what they're saying. And so listening everywhere, giving the company's ability to listen to see what people are saying about them as a company, a campaign that they've done. Maybe listening to their competitors, see what are people saying about the competition that you're going against. Maybe there's things that they really like or don't like that you could take advantage of in a sales cycle. Analyzing sentiment. So it's not only just enough to get all the social posts, but if you're looking at 5,000 posts a day or a month, depending on the volume, there's really no way to go through each and every single post. You need some way to have some sentiment analysis done, and that's really one key to any social engagement tool is what is the sentiment of the posts that are coming in. And then once we have the sentiment and once we have these posts, how do we drive the engagement? That's another key topic that we're getting questions asked from many companies is how do I drive that engagement? And so that's where our social engagement tool comes into play. And it kind of has capabilities that kind of meet each of those three areas we just talked about. We have the social listening component, where you can listen on many different types of media, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, blogs, videos, over 5,000 news publications. We're adding more sources each release. So I know LinkedIn is a big one people want. There's some groups or blogs or basically some social media aspects over in Europe that are popular that may not be popular in the U.S. or not used as much in the U.S., but we need to get those in there. So there's a lot of, it's constantly changing as far as the number of sources that we are monitoring from, and that'll just continue to evolve over the next coming months and other releases that we have. But as you're listening to all this data, you can, you want to find out, who are your key influencers, who's saying the most about you as a company, and kind of be able to track them. Are they good posts, bad posts, and so forth. And then not having to have someone tied every day of their life to the social media tool and finding what are people saying, is it good, is it bad. Having sophisticated alerts that can alert that person that, hey, you may want to go check out your social media dashboard today because that's trending high or trending low, kind of giving you those alerts of something's going on, so you're not having to always constantly monitor the social listening data until you actually get one of those alerts. And then, like I mentioned, once you have the data, you want to be able to analyze it, and you can't go through hundreds and thousands of posts, one by one. You need some way to kind of have a general sentiment analysis done on what is the average sentiment of what people are saying about this certain product or our company or whatever it may be that you're searching on. So the social engagement tool allows you to then see the sentiment analysis and even drill down into the negative post and review that post, and if needed, respond back to that post. And then on the engagement side, now that we have access to the posts and we can get down to the ones that we want to respond to or the ones we want to engage with, we can then reply right from the tool to reply, mark as a favorite, retweet it. So if it's some positive information or positive comments, maybe we want to retweet it or send them a direct message. There's some things you can do right from the social media tool itself to respond. So how this comes into play or integrates with Dynamics CRM is you can use the social engagement tool on all three areas. In our sales cycles, you could be listening for what people are saying about your competitors, or maybe you're listening for things. Maybe you have a couple top accounts that you work with on a regular basis. Maybe you want to monitor what people are saying about them or what issues they may be running into. You could get some feedback that way too, so then you can kind of be more proactive in reaching out to those customers. In the marketing side, you can monitor maybe your kind of more brand analysis is what are people saying about us as a company, about our campaigns that are going out. Do we need to tweak our campaigns? Are people interested? Are they not interested? Those are things that can be done from a marketing standpoint. And then from a customer service or social care standpoint, this is really key for unhappy customers that may be having issues with your product, with a setup or with a defect. How you respond to that could save that customer or even save other customers from leaving as well. And so the social care can come into play here, where you're monitoring those negative posts, you're responding to them and resolving them in a quick fashion. So how we integrated this with CRM Online is the social engagement tool is a standalone tool in the Office 365 platform. So you could go out there today, you could purchase social engagement by itself, use it by itself without integrating to CRM. However, if you have CRM, you could take some of those dashboards, those key KPIs that you want to make available for your sales guys or your marketing guys or your service guys, and plug those right into CRM, right within the dashboards. And so right from here, I could be in CRM and I can quickly see sentiment analysis or trending volume information on certain topics, or I can even see the actual the tweets or the posts that are going on and see them right from within CRM. The other option is I could put them right on within a form in CRM. So like on an account form or contact form, I could put in some social media KPIs as well. Oops. Let me jump over to our demo environment again. Let me close down some of the Power BI stuff here. All right, so let me get back to my main Office 365 page. So if you have the social engagement tool set up on in your environment, your users have licenses to it, you'll have the social engagement option to log into. And so this is what I mean. It can be a standalone tool because it is run by itself without having to integrate to anything else. So you could have some users that just have access to social engagement, and that would be the only product that they would have there. Or you could integrate it with CRM if you have CRM online. It does integrate with CRM on-premise as well, if you should have CRM on-premise. So as I first come into my dashboard, or basically launching the social engagement tool, you come right to a dashboard page. And this dashboard page, it is a hard-coded dashboard page, so you can't really change the items that are on here at this point. But there are different views. There's the overview, a conversation kind of view, where it has more of the phrases people are saying, kind of the sentiment analysis on there. I can kind of scroll over and see some, the languages we're grabbing from, what sources they're coming from. I can go over to the sentiment tab and see a little bit more on the sentiment analysis, positive, negative, see what people are saying. I can even drill into some of those. I can go over to more of a location-specific area on this dashboard, and I can see where our posts are coming from. Looks like we have a lot from North America here, but as I kind of scroll over and look around, I can see, are they positive, negative, depending on the different posts. And then also there's a sources one where it's kind of more, where's the data coming from as far as the actual source. So those are some hard-coded tabs that you have access to. But what you have control over is which search topics you're doing, which ones you want to display on the dashboard. So like you can come down here, I can say, actually I just want to look at our CRM online product right now. And what that'll do is it'll refresh the charts here and only show CRM online search topics in these same 5 dashboards. So you can kind of drill down and filter by a certain search topic, or you can even get even granular and say, well, you know what? I only want to see the stuff that's from Twitter, and so I can filter just down to Twitter, and that'll filter down a little bit more, and so you can kind of massage and kind of play around with the actual data that you have, but it's kind of hard coded into these 5 dashboards. You have the time frame here, so I can look at just today. I can look at last week, last month. Or I also do have a custom time frame, so I could put in a certain time frame that I want and see the number of posts, the trending percentage, basically just a quick view of what's going on with that topic. If I pull over the post tab here I can actually see some of the posts that are making up the data there, and I can respond to them now, or maybe I'm looking at them and maybe CRM thought it was a negative post. But after you're looking at it, maybe it was just someone talking about an issue they had, but here's how you resolve it. Well, maybe that's not necessarily negative. Maybe you want to edit the sentiment and just go ahead and change that to maybe a neutral post. So you have the ability to change the sentiment as you're reviewing the post or as you need to. Let me go ahead and close this post window again. The other thing you can do, I mentioned, you can start drilling in. So if I want to see just the positive data, if I click on the positive section there, I can see then information just about the positive, what phrases are making up that positive, where they're coming from. And again, it's just a lot of filtering and drilling down into the data, helping you, instead of just having to look at 5,000 posts, this gives you a way to visualize those posts, and maybe you want to kind of key in on something that maybe is negative or positive. You can start drilling in and actually looking at the data a little bit more. As I scroll over here, maybe I see, it looks like we have a couple, actually a small amount of data here, but it looks like these are our top authors right now. So I could actually go in and look at this author in Twitter or see the post that they're making, that's making up these 4 posts. So I could click on that, and then I can go ahead and click bringing the post over, and here's his 4 posts that we have here, and I can go ahead and look at that. So again, a nice way to kind of analyze the data. So if I go ahead, let's go ahead and clear the filters here and get back to, just do all search topics right now. So that's a little bit about the interface or the UI for social engagement. But what I want to show now is a little bit more on the search topics. So how do I get the data started, and what options do I have? So if I come over here to the search topics area, here you'll see there's a bunch of predefined categories, but you can also create your own categories. By default, I think we have like campaigns, competitors, products, but you can put in other categories if you want. What the categories allow you to do is, as you have different search topics, you can group them into a category. So when I'm back on the analytics page, I can actually change my search topics, and I can actually change it to a certain category. So maybe I want to see the sentiment analysis of all my products in one view. So I could do that, or I could then drill down into, like we were just doing, looking at one specific product. So the categories come into play really for the searching capabilities or the filtering capabilities. Let me just go back to the search setup here. So as you go ahead, you can go ahead and create new categories, but let's say we have categories we want here. I'll just go ahead and select product, and I'll go ahead and click on search topic. So you can choose, as you add the search topic, you can change the category too if you forget to pick it on the first screen there. So let's go ahead and let's say we're going to look for, maybe we want to do some analysis around our Xbox product that we released. What people are saying about Xbox. So this is just the name of the search term, how it shows up in social engagement. So you don't really, this isn't what it's actually going to search on. So I'll just say Xbox, I'll say demo now, so I know it's what I can remove later on. Once we have the name there, we can come down here and click on the rules. And there's a few different rule options you can have. So there's just a general keywords rule where you just start putting in some keywords that you're going to search on. There's Facebook page rules where you can pick specific Facebook pages you want to monitor. Twitter rule, if you have specific Twitter handle accounts that you want to monitor, just those versus monitoring everything. Or you can have some private message rules where you have to be logged in and actually authenticated to a Twitter account or a Facebook account to monitor those pages. Mostly I've kind of used just the keywords rule. If I click on the keywords rule, this is going to give me some options here as far as where I want to search. So maybe I just want to search Twitter. I can turn off news, videos, and blogs. Or I can go ahead and select all of them again. I can choose which languages we want to select from. Social engagement does do its sentiment analysis in the 8 native languages. So what would happen is if we pulled up a Spanish post, we would do the sentiment analysis in Spanish to find out if it was good or bad, or positive or negative, before we do any. And we don't translate it because during translation you may lose some of that sentiment analysis, or the meaning of the words may change depending on the translation. So we actually do the sentiment analysis in the native language for these native languages here. We do have more languages than this, but these are the ones we do the sentiment analysis in. So keywords, this is where you start adding in your keywords of what you want to search on. So if I just did something like this where I said, well, we want to search on Xbox. Well, if I go ahead and hit continue here, it's going to do a quota check, and it's going to say, well, hold on a second. If you just do Xbox, you're going to collect over 3 million posts per month. And this is just kind of looking at the Twitter volume. And so it's basically gonna say, hey, you can't do this. You're gonna basically gonna blow past your quota. And initially, what you get for quota is you get 10,000 posts per month for your quota. You can purchase more. So if you have a larger customer, a larger prospect that's doing lots of social listening, or they have lots of, there's lots of things being talked about them that they need to monitor. They may want to purchase more posts per month. So what I can do then, so this kind of is kind of just a quick check to say, hey, wait a second, you want to change it up a little bit. So maybe I want to do Xbox One, and then maybe we're looking for Xbox One sports games or something. So anywhere for sports, you can start basically doing this is it's going to look for Xbox One, or it's going to look for sports. So this is kind of the or statement. So if I wanted to just do Xbox One, but I wanted to do kind of an and statement, maybe I want to say it also has to have the word Microsoft in it, or basically Xbox One or the word sports. We want just sports games. So this will say basically if the post has Xbox One and Microsoft, or if it has Xbox One and sports, it should then pull in. So let's just do a quick quote check. This is probably still going to bring back quite a few. So you see it did narrow it down, but it's still close to 100,000 posts. So I may want to do a little bit more, make it a little bit more granular, or maybe I want to do reviews. Let's see here what else we can list down to. Let's do Xbox One games. Let's see if I can pull this down. I might actually have to get it up a little bit more. Wrong spot. Let's do reviews, games. Let's bring it down a little bit from there. We'll just leave that at that for right now. So Xbox obviously is a huge topic. So we'll do. Let's do this. Bring us down a little bit more. Microsoft, just for the sake of this demo. Let's see if that will bring it down. Nope, still down. All right. So we have basically what this inclusion is going to do is it's going to say only return the posts that have these inclusions in the same paragraph, or you can say in the same sentence or in the same post. So depending on Twitter obviously only has probably room for maybe one or two sentences. So these are probably going to be pretty much the same. But as you get into like Facebook or some of the other ones that has a little bit longer, like blog posts, you may want to look for something in the same sentence or the same paragraph or the same post. So that could change the number it pulls in as well. The other option you have with this is the exclusions. So maybe you have a product that has a similar name as a competitor, or you have maybe your own couple products that have very similar names. So maybe you want to say exclude Xbox 360 and Xbox. And so I can go put those in as exclusions, see if that helps out at all. Okay, that's good. Let me just do the Xbox 360. So that pulls it down again a little bit, but I'll have to do a little more tweaking on this one to kind of fit in my quota. But what I can do then is once I have this done and see kind of it meets my quota check here, I can go ahead and click on save, and that'll save this search topic. And we'll go ahead and I'll just go ahead and confirm this. And let me open up an existing search topic I have. So this one, the Dynamics CRM Online one we're doing, basically has the keywords for Dynamics CRM Online or Spring Update, but also contains the words Microsoft, Dynamics, and CRM all in the same paragraph. And I don't have any exclusions on that. So, there's things you can do, or as far as what you want to search on. Like I mentioned, you can search on campaign names, product names, company names, whatever really you want to search on. Competitor names, you could put that in there and let that search social media for those. Once those search terms are set up, you do have a little quota check over here. So it will, as you kind of go through the month, it'll kind of give you an idea of where you're at your quota, or if you're going to hit your quota. If you do create a search topic that maybe does blow past your quota towards the end of the month, it does stop collecting new posts for the rest of the month. So if you say today is the 24th and say I hit my 10,000 limit, I wouldn't get any new posts for the next 6 days until October 1st would start. So you do kind of need to keep an eye on your search topics as far as how many posts it's probably averaging to see if you would want to purchase more quota. As we can kind of look at a few of the other options here, Social Center, what this allows you to do is set up a couple feeds where you can kind of put in some saved search topics, or like, so here I'm looking at just my CRM negative posts for my CRM online topic. I could, broaden that out and say all negative posts, but I'm just looking at for CRM online. And then I also could look at, here's my top authors. And so these are just different, basically a social center that you can set up to kind of have a predefined query into quick access into some posts that are happening based on your query. The other option we have, and this is actually new here, is it's an activity map. And so this is kind of meant more for maybe larger displays. Like maybe you have, let's see if I can get this open here. There we go. Maybe you have, as you walk into your building, or maybe within your office area, you have a large monitor, and you want to have basically a live feed into the social media data. And so you, as maybe you have a big campaign going on or event, and people are posting data or posting messages, you want to see what they're saying kind of real time. Well, this activity map can be, well, you can use it on your normal computer too, but you could have it up on your large screen or on a big display, and then you can actually, if obviously it's touch screen, you can interact with it, and you can look in and see what people are posting. You can change the filters a little bit, or you can navigate around the globe, see what people are saying, what has come in the past few hours. So you have kind of another way to display the data within your company, and then kind of make it alive and interactive based on what you're monitoring at the time. So I think one thing we use this for, we have our annual convergence conference, and so they were monitoring Twitter posts and things what people were saying about the conference. And I don't think we had the activity map functionality at that time, but that'll be a nice thing to have next time around, to have that that live data look into what people are saying, where the posts are coming from, and so forth. So that's a nice little activity map. After you can collapse the header there, so you can see basically the whole world view there. But what you can do then is you can put in your own search topics. So here I just have a few, what my keywords are, where the posts are pulling from, what languages we're pulling in. So you have basically, it's just like on the dashboards, you can pull in whatever you want into that activity map. And then Message Center, this is where you actually set up the alerts. So you can come in here, you can click on New Alerts, and you could basically put in the filters for what you want as far as the alert to be on. Because maybe you want all negative posts to send you an email, or maybe you want just more of a trending analysis. So if we're trending, if the trend goes, like maybe we're trending at 20 posts per day, then all of a sudden it jumps up to 50 posts one day. That could send you an email to alert you that, hey, something's going on, you may want to check on it. It may be good, it may be bad. It's depending on it. The trending is just, hey, something spiked, whether it's good or bad. But you also could do a post alert where you could say, send me an email or a notification if there's a negative post on a certain product or on basically our products category of all our products. That way our service team can take action on it right away. So you can define those alerts right here. The other thing that's kind of nice that you can do is if you're back on the analytics dashboard and you're going through this and maybe you're filtering down, maybe I put in, let's just say I go down to, I just want maybe just Twitter, and I just want, say for this example, I just want English at this point. I could apply those. And now that I've done these filtering, maybe I'm like, man, I would like to have an alert if our trending goes out of control with this filter. Well, what I can do is I can actually click on this and I can say create alert, or I can even create an activity map based on these filters. So I don't necessarily have to go to the message center to create it. I could say, hey, I want to alert based on the query I just have right here. And that would actually bring me over to the message center and actually create an alert with those filters already in place. So here you see I have the two filters. It shows the Twitter and then the, what's not keywords, but the English language. Like I could save that as another filter, or sorry, another alert. And let me go down here. So settings area, we won't spend too much time in here, but this is where you can come in to set up your user roles. So users could come in, they could just be an analysis user, where they can basically just kind of get access to the dashboard area and social center, where they can kind of view the data, and I guess activity maps as well, but more view the data and play with the data, filter the data. But there's also the admin user then that can actually come in and actually set up the search terms, set up the user roles and things like that. And then there's some other default settings like do you want your default time frame on the dashboard to be today, last week, or last month? So those are some defaults you can set as a admin, but then as a user could go in and set their defaults as well. So those are just a few things with the social engagement product. As we jump over to CRM here real quick, I'm going to go back to our dashboards. Let's see if I can get this working here. I was having some issues last week with my connection here, but hopefully it works this time. Let me just do a new dashboard. And this will be, I'll just go ahead and grab another template here. And you'll notice actually, let me take one step back here for a second. Let me go to settings. And so now I have a social engagement product. I have my CRM Online product. Well, how do I get them to talk to each other? That's what you would do over in the settings and administration area. Just like where we enabled the Yammer yesterday, you can then enable the Microsoft Social Engagement configuration. What this will do is once you click on it, it'll search your subscription to see, do you have a social engagement instance here? And so you can go ahead and you can select that one. And then if you ever need to, like if you need to reset the social insights for like basically what stuff you've done in CRM, like get rid of the dashboards or kind of the filtering on the dashboards, you could reset the social insights. That doesn't affect the actual social insights application itself. It just resets what's in CRM as far as the search topics and stuff like that. But basically all you have to do is select your instance there and it's basically connected. And so now if I go back over to my dashboards, and let's go ahead and create a new dashboard. If without doing that option that we just did as far as enabling it, you would not see this fifth option down here for the social insights option to insert. So if you don't see that, it's because you don't have it enabled yet. But I can go ahead and I can click on that. And what this should allow me to do is I could go ahead and pick a search topic, or I could even define one on the fly. So if I clicked on, let me just click on search topic, or I could pick category. Category would be like all my products. I hit next here and see, hopefully this will connect for me. Okay, good. So this came back. So here's all my search topics, all my search topics with my products. Let me go ahead and grab my CRM Online one, hit next. From this window, I could create a search topic on the fly if I wanted to, but I'll just use an existing one since it'll have some data. So I can choose from a bunch of different KPIs. So I could choose the analytics summary, which kind of gives me a summary of 5 or 6 of the main KPIs. I could choose, maybe I just want just the sentiment summary by source. I could pull that in there, or whatever it is I need. So let me go ahead and hit finish. I'll put that one there. Let me do one more here quick. Maybe this one instead of CRM Online, we'll do another product here. Maybe we'll do I'll just grab the other CRM one up here. Do that, and then we'll grab. Let's just do the analytics summary just for the demo there. So I'll pull that in. Let me just do social KPIs. If I hit save, and I could add up to 6 items to a dashboard, so I could add more if I wanted. But for the sake of time in the demo, we'll just go ahead and jump back over here. Let me just refresh my screen so I can get my dashboard to show up. I drop that down. I should have my social KPI. And now that comes in, it loads up, and it's pulling the data from sort of the social engagement tool. So I can see the different sentiment analysis. Now let's say I actually wanted, maybe there was some negative sentiment here and I wanted to drill into it. As long as I have a social engagement license, I can get into social engagement. I can actually click on a section of the KPI, and actually it would bring me out to the social engagement tool based on that product that we had selected, or the search category we were using, and then right into that sentiment. So since I just clicked on positive, it's only showing me the positive stuff right now, based on what I clicked on from back over here. I clicked on just the positive. I want to go just to the neutral side. I can come over here, and this will be just kind of filtered down just to the neutral, so I shouldn't have any positive stuff showing up on this for this query as far as what it was showing up. I guess it does show me some positive ones there, but I scroll over a little bit. Sentiment is all the neutral ones, the ones that aren't positive or negative. They're somewhere in the middle. So just one way you can integrate social engagement with CRM and then access it right from the CRM application from here. So. All right. Are there any questions? I'm gonna go back to my slides. Are there any questions on the social engagement overview there? We'll talk a little bit about licensing here, and then we'll finish up. If you have any questions, feel free to use that Q&A pane, or we'll go ahead and unmute here in a minute here if you want to ask a live question. So a little bit on licensing. If you were to just go out and purchase the social engagement tool by itself, and basically we have two options. We have this professional and the enterprise. Really the main differences between them is when I showed you guys the social center, where you could have up to 2 queries of kind of predefined queries, so you could quickly see the posts for those. In the professional, you get 2 streams per user, so you could only have 2 queries in that social center. You could have an unlimited number of search topics and things like that, but the actual social center, the 2 streams, would be limited. But if you had an enterprise, you have unlimited streams. So you could have unlimited queries in that streaming area, where you could quickly see the posts based on negatives or whatever you want to see. So that would be one way, or one difference. The other one is taking a post and assigning it to someone. So maybe you need to assign it to another individual in social engagement. That's only available in the enterprise license. And then also there's the integration to CRM. So there will be an option here shortly to basically send that case to CRM, and that will be available within the enterprise license as well. You could still integrate with CRM with the professional edition, but mainly through the dashboards like I just showed you. So if you were to go out there and buy it just standalone, it's $75 per user per month for those that you want to access it. You don't have to license everyone. And then the enterprise is $125 per user per month. You do get 10,000 posts per month, and that will again reset every month. You can buy additional posts. You see at the bottom left-hand corner of the slide, you can buy the more you buy, the more savings you get. So if you want to buy another 10,000 posts, it's $100. But if you buy 100,000 posts, it's $700, and that's on a per month per org basis. So depending on what additional access you need, you can purchase more posts. Now, I mentioned this on day 1 here when we talked about CRM licensing. If you have 10 professional CRM licenses, you will get social engagement professional for free. So that'll be provisioned in your organization, and your CRM users can use it. If you have under 10 users, then you could go and purchase the standalone option, but still integrate it with CRM. You would have to pay for the additional licenses for social engagement if you were below 10. And then the last option there is for an on-premise customer. If you want social engagement and you have a current, or if you have CRM on-premise and you are current on your SA agreement, then you can get a discount on the professional price for $20 per user per month. And again, that's only for the users that you need access to social engagement. You know, if you have 100 users in CRM, but they all don't need access to the social engagement, you don't have to purchase 100 social engagement licenses. You can purchase 10 or 5 or whatever you need. So that's a little bit about the licensing, kind of the options you have to purchase it. I do have an FAQ. This is more just for your reference for later on in the slides. Feel free to take it. Just kind of some common questions we get around the social engagement tool and so forth. And then as you're working with your prospects and your customers, if you have a request for, hey, what are some other companies that are using this? What are they doing? We do have some customer stories posted out on our customer stories site, but I do have a couple slides in here that you can feel free to use just to kind of give examples of some customers. And some of these customers, if you've been to Convergence recently or some of the other Microsoft events, these customers have been on stage or their stories have been on stage as far as how they're using. Marston's Pubs uses social engagement to monitor what people are saying about obviously their brands and their locations and so forth with their different breweries and things like that. Another one, I don't know if it's in, I don't think I have it in the slides here, but another one that is posted and used a lot is Real Madrid, a soccer club in Europe uses dynamic CRM, social engagement, and so forth. And so they monitor what fans are saying about the team, about individual players, and stuff like that. So there's many different ways you can use social engagement. I think if I go back one slide, I think that HTW Schroeder uses it more for like research as they're researching projects and things like that. So there may not necessarily be searching on like their company or their things. They're searching what people are saying about other types of things that they're doing research on. So they're kind of using it as more of a research tool. But there's different examples of different customers here. And again, links to more information on our social engagement info. And kind of there isn't a trial option for social engagement right now. If you get CRM Online, there's a CRM Online trial, there's a Dynamics Marketing trial, but there isn't just a trial available. There's a 30-minute demo that you can kind of click through and use because that actually has some data in it, so you kind of get some experience with. Because if you were to go out to social engagement product, your first time there and you set up some search terms, you're not going to have any data in the system right away. It's basically going to have to start pulling in that data from the time you start entering the search terms. And so the demos we have, or the click-through demos, gives you the ability to kind of play with a 30-minute demo of a system that actually has some data in it.